Rules Committee come to order, and I know it's an exciting time to be back. There's so much to share of exciting time back home. I know that this committee has a lot of work to do to make up for the week that we were off. I'm delighted to be back and excited about an opportunity for where we are here on this Monday. I hope that everybody had a productive district work week back home. It's kind of nice when it's not scheduled and you can sleep in your own bed and go and do the things that you need to. However, we're back at work now, and the Rules Committee tonight is going to consider H.R. 3700, the Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act of 2015. The federal government has been involved in providing housing assistance to lower-income households since the mid-'30s. Over time, however, these programs have become outdated and financially strained, with many higher-income individuals benefiting at a cost to lower-income individuals who truly need the assistance. H.R. 3700 promotes greater efficiency in existing housing assistance programs by restricting the use of scarce public housing units to those who genuinely need low-income housing. It also cuts down on inefficient and duplicative regulations, and I think employing a lot of, simply put, common sense. It requires a common sense approach to mitigate the overlapping and redundant procedures that have made rental assistance program unnecessarily burdensome for tenants, private owners, and investors in affordable housing. H.R. 3700 packages together several bipartisan bills with provisions that have been voted on by the Financial Services Committee and receiving bipartisan support multiple times since 2006. I want to thank my dear friend, the gentleman from Missouri, Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer, for joining us here today, as well as the ranking member of the Financial Services Committee, the gentlewoman Maxine Waters, who is here. I look forward to your testimony. I think this is a great opportunity for us if, in fact, we can come together to talk about making lives better for people who truly need it. As the parent of a young man who has Down syndrome, the closer to 22 he gets, and the closer I get to 60, I don't know where Alex will be when I'm 80 or 90. But I'd like to think that some of the changes that we make for people who truly do need the assistance of the government, whether it be a person through disability, whether it be a person who is down on their luck. I hope that we recognize that this assistance of the housing infrastructure, so to speak, and the laws related to that drive that behavior can be modernized. It makes me happy to see us here on a bipartisan basis hearing about that and moving forward to making it just a little bit better. So I'm delighted that we're here today. Now I would yield to the gentleman, the ranking member from Massachusetts.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Like
I want to welcome my witnesses. I support many of the reforms that are included in this legislation. I think there are some issues I think the ranking member had raised that I hope can be addressed, but I look forward to hearing the testimony, and I yield back my time.
Thank you very much. What an uplifting message, really, for us coming back to work together, Jim, and I appreciate that because I don't know all the ins and outs. I've looked at a number of the parameters, but certainly, Ms. Waters, who will have you come to the table, please, Mr. Luetkemeyer, as our star witnesses today. Please, come on up to the table. I think this committee, across the board, recognizes that if we work together, we can get more than if we struggle by ourselves. And I'm delighted that you're both here. Judge, good to see you. I hope you had a week home that was fruitful. I probably didn't have much snow down there, did you? Well, we're delighted that you're here. I think you've both been up here and you know this, whatever you brought in writing, our stenographer would welcome having that. I'm supposed to use the word awesome. They make fun of me for saying it, but I say it every time. An awesome stenographer that we have, but we're delighted that both of you are here, and without objection, anything you have in writing will be entered in the record. The gentleman from Missouri is recognized. If you please make sure that mic is turned on also. There it is.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Ranking Member McGovern and all the members of the committee. Appreciate the opportunity to testify on H.R. 3700, the Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act of 2015. When I took the gavel for the Financial Services Subcommittee on Housing and Insurance, I told my colleagues I wanted to work with them across party lines to make meaningful changes that benefit all Americans. H.R. 3700 represents a major step forward, one to reform a system that is, in many instances, outdated, duplicative, and burdensome. As a body, we should be committed to creating a more efficient government and greater opportunity for the American people and American businesses. H.R. 3700 helps us meet those commitments. This legislation promotes greater efficiency in housing assistance programs and modernizes outdated rules and regulations, which in some cases could not have been updated or have not been updated in over a generation. H.R. 3700 streamlines the inspection protocol for rental assistance units, simplifies the income recertification policies for all assisted households, clarifies homeless assistance program requirements, delegates rural housing loan approval authority, and provides targeted flexibility between housing, public housing operating, and capital funds. H.R. 3700 also gives state and local housing agencies and private owners enhanced flexibility in meeting key program objectives such as reducing homelessness, improving access to higher opportunity neighborhoods, and addressing repair needs in public housing. The bill also, for the first time in over 80 years, a public housing policy provides a thoughtful limitation on public housing tenancy for over-income families. Importantly, this legislation also pays special attention to our homeless veterans and children aging out of foster care, two vulnerable communities that need our support today. H.R. 3700 does all this and still manages to save taxpayers' money. CBO estimates that the underlying bill will save $311 million over 5 years. I'll be the first to point out that 3700 won't necessarily change the world. It won't overhaul HUD or the Rural Housing Service in homelessness overnight or meet the overwhelming need for affordable housing. But it is a significant step, I believe, in a long journey toward reforming a broken system. The majority of the provisions of this bill were agreed to years ago by members of Congress, housing advocates, and industry groups. H.R. 3700 is a set of solutions on which all parties in Congress, industry, and advocacy can have agreed and again can agree today. You're looking at probably, I counted up 19 different sections of law and over 65 to 70 provisions within those sections that we've worked on. Mr. Chairman, this legislation represents a bipartisan effort that has been drafted and debated for the past 6 months. I want to thank Ranking Member Waters and Cleaver and Chairman Henschling for working with me on this legislation, which passed the Financial Services Committee in December by an overwhelming bipartisan vote of 44-10. The Rules Committee will also have the opportunity shortly to consider an amendment offered by Mrs. Waters. If you allow the amendment to proceed, I plan to support that amendment. It's my understanding that the passage of this amendment will secure the ranking member's support for the underlying bill. Housing policy isn't easy. It's emotional. It touches lives. It sets the stage for future generations. And because it's so important, it isn't always easy to find policies on which we all agree. With H.R. 3700, we have an opportunity to show the nation that we are committed to working together with a diverse group of stakeholders for the American people. I thank the Rules Committee for the consideration of H.R. 37 and request the committee grant a rule that allows for expeditious consideration of the bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and all the members, and I yield back.
Mr. Lukemeyer, thank you very much. Ms. Waters, I have no clue what you're going to say, but I will tell you that we are delighted that you're here. You have been a regular visitor, a person who's brought your ideas. Sometimes I've completely agreed with you, and sometimes perhaps I have not. But what matters is that you're here today to work on an issue that is of vital importance, I believe, to a huge number of Americans. But I think most of all, people who, if they pay attention, know that we're trying to struggle together, and I think that's what Mr. Lukemeyer said, and I'm delighted that you're here. The gentlewoman's recognized.
Mr. Chairman, and members of this Rules Committee, and Ranking Member Slaughter is not here, but I see Mr. Montgomery and Mr. Hastings both are here, and I'm very pleased to be here today with my colleague, Mr. Lukemeyer, on this bill. I'm delighted to be able to testify. We're here to discuss H.R. 3700. I'd like to start by saying how pleased I am that we're focusing on housing, and I thank my colleague for taking up this bill. I consider it the first major housing bill that the Financial Services Committee has considered in the past several Congresses, and I hope that we will be able to spend a lot more time focusing on the dire housing needs of low-income families in America as we move forward. H.R. 37 would make several incremental changes across a number of federal housing programs that will allow us to better serve low-income families in need of housing assistance. These changes would affect public housing, Section 8, tenant and project-based rental assistance, the Federal Housing Administration, the Rural Housing Service, and HUD's homelessness programs, among others. Many of the provisions are, as was stated, are common-sense reforms that are long overdue. For example, this bill also includes the text of a bill that I had, the Project-Based Voucher Improvement Act of 2015, which would increase flexibility for public housing authorities to develop new units of housing to serve vulnerable populations, including those who are homeless in this country, and help to create housing opportunities in areas where vouchers are difficult to use. Of course, when the bill was in committee, I did have some concerns, and I'm very, very pleased that our staffs have been able to work together to address those concerns. I was concerned about parents who are working and who need to have support. And I did not want the bill to effectively raise rents for these thousands of families with children and likely make it more difficult for these parents to maintain employment or pursue training or educational opportunities. So this provision would limit the amount that HUD-assisted families can deduct from their income for child care expenses. And I don't need to go through all of why it's so important to support families that are working and are trying to change their lives and become independent. And many of these families are single family households with women who are heading these households. Whenever we have an opportunity to be supportive, I think we should. And I think, as Mr. Lukemeyer put this bill together, and in order to balance everything that he was doing, because it's addressing so many areas, I think that this was something that needed a little bit more discussion. We've had that discussion, and I think we're basically agreed, and as Mr. Lukemeyer said, they're prepared to support the amendment that I have that will ensure that we continue to support these families that are trying to work and need special consideration in their rent. So with that, I'll just conclude by saying that, again, I'm very pleased that Mr. Lukemeyer has provided some leadership on housing issues on this committee, and I'm pleased that we're able to work together on this bill, and I would ask the support of the Rules Committee to make my amendment in order. I yield back the balance of my time.
Mr. Waters, thank you very much. Your bubbly endorsement, I would say thank you very much. I would encourage you not to kiss him. It may hurt you back home in that reelection effort, but I am delighted. I cannot tell you how happy I am to see both of you together. Mr. Lukemeyer knows that I've told him, because I've studied what he does, I want to be on every single bill he does. And I think he's a well-balanced, thoughtful man who is trying to get everybody to the best of the ability. But I think what he's for is to get it done also. And for that, I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Gentleman from Georgia, do you seek time?
Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman does not seek time. The gentleman from Massachusetts.
So it sounds like if your amendment is made in order and we could fix this, we're okay, right?
That's right.
Then I'm fine.
That's right.
Okay, I yield back my time.
Thank you very much. Gentleman yields back his time. Does gentleman from Florida seek time?
Same holds for me, Mr. Chairman, and if the amendment is not made in order and it's not okay, then I would lead a charge to make sure that we vote against the substantive amendment, the substantive bill.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And thank you very much. Well, you see, your two favorite members of Congress are up here. Ms. Waters? Dr. Burgess? No other member seeks time. I think this speaks volumes I'm sorry? I think it speaks volumes for the kind of thing that this committee appreciates and respects. I think cobbling together more than one piece of legislation, more than one idea is hard. I'm going to say this because I believe it's up to both of you guys, both of you, members of Congress, to work together. And we don't admonish you, we don't charge you, we don't do anything. We just say, well, you're successful. So I think this committee will be able to appropriately handle what's before it, and I thank you for your time. And if you'll please make sure you leave whatever you brought in writing, that will certainly help out the stenographer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. The committee now is looking for any other member that would seek to give testimony in H.R. 3700. Committee is open to hearing from any member who would like to give testimony to H.R. 3700. There are a number of people who had indicated that they believe that they would want to do that. And so gone. So the committee now has made itself available and does not see any other member that seeks time. So this will close the hearing portion of H.R. 3700, Housing Opportunity through Modernization Act of 2015. We've now finished this hearing, and we will wait to hear from the staff about how fast we are on moving forward, and I'm sure that the staff has now run out thinking we were 25 or 30 minutes faster than what they thought. The gentleman, Mr. Hubbard, is going to come whispered in my ear now. Very much so. As I suspected, the efficiency of the product was achieved. Judge Hastings did a great job to make sure we achieved this quickly. Mr. McGovern, thank you very much. The committee now will take a few minutes as we recess to finalize the package. So we will be subject to call of the chair, and I would anticipate it would take us a little bit more than 15 minutes, but not a lot more than that. Subject to call of the chair, committee is now in recess. Rules come to order. Rules Committee come to order. Thank you very much for waiting a few minutes. Louise, good to see you. How was the snow?
Oh, we're okay up there. This is February 1st, and anybody can remember without any.
Oh. Well, it'll come.
That's all right. You all can have it this year.
Yeah.
We're not jealous.
Yeah, I know. I'm not jealous yet. Chairman will yield to the gentleman from Georgia for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the committee grant H.R. 3700, the Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act of 2015, a structured rule. The rule provides 1 hour of general debate equally divided and controlled by the chair and ranking minority member of the Committee on Financial Services. The rule waives all points of order against consideration of the bill. The rule makes an order as original text for the purpose of amendment, an amendment in the nature of a substitute consisting of the text of Rules Committee Print 114-42, and provides that it shall be considered as read. The rule waives all points of order against that amendment in the nature of a substitute. The rule makes an order only those further amendments printed in the Rules Committee report. Each such amendment may be offered only in the order printed in the report, may be offered only by a member designated in the report, shall be considered as read, shall be debatable for the time specified in the report, equally divided and controlled by the proponent and an opponent, shall not be subject to amendment, and shall not be subject to demand for division of the question. The rule waives all points of order against the amendments printed in the report. Finally, Mr. Chairman, the rule provides one motion to recommit with or without instructions.
Now heard the motion from the gentleman from Georgia. Is there amendment or discussion to that?
I have a unanimous consent request from Mr. Ellison, who did come up to testify and ask unanimous consent to put his statement in the record.
With that objection, we'll do that.
Thank you.
Let me also add that the gentleman, Mr. Green from Texas, has now come. And in fairness to in fairness to Congressman Green, he did not know we were as efficient as we are today, and that we, in fact, ran through the witnesses that we had, but I want the record to reflect that he did come to address the committee, and if there may be something, do you have anything that you'd like to enter in the record?
I'd certainly like to enter into the record Mr. Green's statement as well as Mr.
Without
Ellison's.
objection, we will enter that into the record.
Very good.
Thank you very much. All right, the motion is now on the floor. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Accordingly, the gentleman, Mr. Stivers from Ohio, will be handling this for Republicans.
And Mr. Hastings.
And Mr. Judge Hastings will be for Democrats. The next meeting is set for 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Right.
3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Thank you very much. The committee is now through this work for the day.
God, wouldn't Virginia be proud?
We were back.